Welcome to Animal Muses with your host, professional fine artist, writer, coach, and shamanic practitioner, Catherine Lucas. Join Catherine as she shares insights and wisdom gleaned from the natural world around her. Now, learn how you can cultivate your awareness and become the masterpiece that you are.
Little armored one, with shield upon your back, in a ball you're spun, protected from attack. Armadillo, show me my shield, deflect and protect, that I may not yield, my truth, my soul architect. Welcome everyone to another episode of Animal Muses. I'm your host, Catherine Lucas. The natural world offers us many gifts if we're open to receiving them. In Animal Muses, I share messages and insights that I receive through my fellow creatures, as I believe they are not just for me. Nature embodies an awareness that reveals itself through all living things. By sharing my experiences, I hope to support, empower, and revive the creative inspiration in others. Animals are my teacher and muse, bringing me messages and healing that have allowed me to continue to grow and learn as a person and artist, and ultimately understand my unique soul purpose. This is what I wish to extend to you. As a reminder, the Animal Muses podcast is intended for educational, inspirational, and motivational purposes only. It's not a substitute for professional medical diagnosis, treatment, or advice. So absorb what resonates with you today and just release the rest. On my walk today, I came across a curious object and upon closer inspection realized that it was an armadillo curled into a ball. Now, I find these creatures so fascinating in the way that they can just coil up into themselves. They wear a hard, impenetrable coat of armor on their backs that they can flex to shield their softer and vulnerable underside from harm. Seeing this made me think about their amazing ability to shield themselves from whatever threatens them or doesn't feel good to them, and how within their impenetrable shield, they're completely solitary. They're completely alone, but not necessarily lonely. Coiling into its own personal space of solitude, the armadillo attains self-preservation. So what can we learn from this creature's unique behavior? In our culture, being alone is equated with loneliness. But solitude is much different than loneliness, though they are both characterized by solitariness. You can actually be lonely around other people. Loneliness is a state of mind permeated by feelings of emptiness, isolation, and a ravaging hunger to receive attention from others. You experience loneliness when you're trying to escape your own thoughts, which you're forced to confront while you're alone. Solitude, on the other hand, is a state of being alone without being lonely. While loneliness is self-destructive in nature, solitude, on the other hand, is a positive and constructive state of engagement with oneself used for inner reflection and growth. Solitude allows you to come face to face with your true self and connect to your soul. The essential difference between solitude and loneliness has to do with a sense of connection. And that connection starts within ourselves. If we aren't connected to ourselves, then we really can't experience a true and deep connection with others. Solitude is the only way to develop that connection, and the gift of solitude is the ability to be alone without feeling lonely. In order to grow at a soul level, we need to spend time alone. The soul cannot surface if we fail to distance ourselves from the noise of the world, the constant connection on social media, TV, radio, social networks, and even with friends and family members. Being alone allows us the time and space to reflect upon and assess what we value and just time to be. It's only in our solitariness that inner growth occurs and we find our truth. When we come to view being alone as an opportunity and a gift, the moments of loneliness then transform into moments of awareness. It's by shifting our perspective that we transform the dark isolation of loneliness into the vast spaciousness of universal consciousness. In this state, we're connected to the oneness of life, and we can find that we're never truly alone. Seclusion is a powerful gift that you can give yourself that allows you to cultivate many things from within. Here's what the armadillo teaches us about solitude. Through solitude, we have an opportunity to discover ourselves and find our own voice and personal power. It's in these moments that our spirit talks to us and we can actually hear what it's trying to say to us. You know, our spirit is always speaking to us, but we don't recognize its voice through all the chatter around us. Through solitude, we can receive spiritual guidance with great ease. Solitude enhances intuition. When we have the time to discover and connect to our true essence, our intuitive powers strengthen. Intuition comes from that deep part of ourselves that knows our truth. Being alone allows us to connect with and strengthen this inherent gift of ours. It's through solitude that we recharge our own intuitive batteries. Solitude gives us the space to think more deeply. Constant connection with others and the motion in our day-to-day life with commitments and responsibilities prevent us from engaging in deep thought. This ultimately inhibits creativity and productivity. Solitude helps us improve concentration and helps us to work through problems more effectively. It's hard to think of effective solutions to problems when we're bombarded and distracted by incoming information. When we remove as many distractions and interruptions as we can from our day, we're better able to concentrate, which will help us get more work done in a shorter period of time. Essentially, solitude allows us to reboot our brain and unwind. Constantly being switched to the on mode doesn't give our brain a chance to rest and refresh itself. Being alone without distraction gives us the chance to clear our mind, renew our focus, and think more clearly. It's an opportunity to revitalize our mind, body, and spirit at the same time. Solitude gives us a space to ask and answer our own questions. We're always seeking answers from the outside world. We're taught to ask authorities and people with more experience the answers to our own questions. In solitude, we'll find out that we know more than we think, and drawing upon knowledge we discover in ourselves is a very empowering thing. Solitude gives us the space to reevaluate our beliefs and values. In this quiet space, we have the time to review whether or not the things we do are in alignment with our beliefs and values. Here we just might find out that our thoughts, words, and actions are incongruent with each other. When we're out of alignment within ourselves, we're disempowered. Living in integrity requires us to be in alignment with our thoughts, words, and actions. When these things are in harmony with each other, we're never confused when things go wrong in our lives. We'll know exactly why we did something, and we'll know what went through our minds when we did it because it's in line with our beliefs. When we're in full integrity, we're responsible for ourselves and therefore fully empowered. Solitude can enhance the quality of our relationships with others. By spending time with ourselves and gaining a better understanding of who we are and what we desire in life, we're more likely to make better choices about who we want to be around. We may also come to appreciate our relationships more after we've spent some time alone. Our outward relationships are ultimately a reflection of the inner relationship with ourself. Finally, giving ourselves the gift of solitude gives us the gift of clarity, where we can assess the relationships in our lives, whether that's family, friends, or work, and ask ourselves whether we're being supported or neglected or even drained. As long as we're seeking connection outside of ourselves, we're not going to have the clarity or foresight of thought to properly answer that question for ourselves. As we wrap up today's show, I want to recount that, if we're open to it, animals can teach us a lot about ourselves. Everything in life possesses an archetypal energy as expressed through nature. Each living thing has its own characteristic or quality, which is reflected through its form, habits, and behaviors. Acknowledging this, we can align ourselves with the essence that lies underneath these qualities and ultimately gain a clearer understanding of our own nature in life. The Armadillo teaches us that being alone in our own company allows not only for some introspection, but also for some comfort to be found within ourselves. Through much of our life, we're going to be alone. We go through joys and sorrows alone, and in the end, there is the one dance that we can only do alone, the dance of death. In between, we can learn to find our joy in our solitude. Armadillo graces us with the gift of solitude by empowering us to set our own healthy boundaries. Well, as always, my animal friends and I want to thank you for listening to the show today. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here and would love to hear any comments you have about today's episode. You can do this by subscribing to Animal Muses with Catherine Lucas on Soundcloud, Stitcher, Spotify, Radio Public, and iHeart Radio, and leave any comments there. I invite you to leave your review and ratings on iTunes as well. Don't forget to join me on my Facebook page, Animal Muses, to let me know what you think about today's episode. And remember, you can always connect with me at animalmuses.com, which will redirect you to my parent website, bodyofart.net, spelled BODYOFART.net. Here you will find all of my previous episodes and can sign up for my monthly newsletter. That way, every show will be sent directly to your inbox so that you don't have to go looking for it each time. If you're interested in learning more about the fine art I create, you can find me at catherinelucasart.com and on Instagram at catherinelucasart and follow me there. Until next time, I empower you to take charge of your life and become the masterpiece that you are.
You've been listening to Animal Muses, hosted by Catherine Lucas. Animal Muses has been brought to you by animalmuses.com and Body of Art Enterprises Incorporated, your source for individualized mentorship and coaching. Our mission is to educate and support individuals to step into their own personal power and become the masterpiece that they are. To learn more, go to animalmuses.com and bodyofart.net.